Was you see that turf? Hope you're having a great day today. Typically on my channel, we're going to do lawn care videos. Show you how to have some good looking turf and maintain your property and stripe the grass up and all that kind of thing. Been in lawn care, my own business for 20 years now. And I kind of take what I know and give it back to you on the YouTube. But because we're in the winter time, nothing's really happening in the yard. We're going to do some other things like clean my car, because I absolutely love cleaning my car and my truck, keeping them spick and span, spotless clean to the best of my ability. So I'm going to do a full detail and kind of take you through the process of how I do all this today and show you some of the things I use, some of the products I use and that kind of thing. I did see a comment from a gentleman that said, you know, if he wants to get advice on washing a car, he's going to go to a professional. Well, here's my take on that. You don't have to be a professional at something to be extremely good at it, or to be extremely educated on the subject, or to know what you're doing. You know, I kind of don't go for that, to be honest with you, because there's plenty of people out there that do something that they're not a professional, meaning they get paid to do it for a living, and they do it well. The reason behind me cleaning my car today is I got a date tonight. And no, it's not my wife. No, I'm not cheating on my wife. It's not another woman. It is a young man. And this young man has showed interest in my daughter. So he and I are going to go out and have a little one-on-one time, a little conversation, so that we're kind of on the same page. He'll know what I expect, and you know, just kind of get to know the guy. From what I know about him, he's a good kid. I have no issues with him whatsoever. But as a dad, you know, I have a responsibility to my daughter, and not only to provide for her and to teach her about life, but to protect her as well. So I just want to make sure we're on the same page with this guy. So I'm cleaning the car up for him. I don't want him to ride in a dirty car. So I ain't gonna lie to you, this has been incredibly difficult for me. I am I guess you'd say I'm a hyper anal protective dad over my daughter. I take that extremely serious. Obviously, because it goes back to my faith, and I have a commandment straight from God Almighty to train my children in the ways of the Lord. And you know the rest of it. When they're old, they won't depart from it. And even with having done that, this is still a struggle for me, a big struggle. I'd even say it's every bit as hard as the physical struggles my youngest son has went through. I know some folks are like, well, she's just going on a date. It's so much more to me than that. So, if you are a dad, and if you may have been going through these same emotions, maybe your daughter's about to start, you know, dating or courting or talking to guys or whatever you want to call it. If you, I'm willing to do a video and explain to you my process on how I've been able to process all this and emotionally and spiritually kind of get through it. If you want a video on that, comment below, and if I get enough people say they'd be interested in hearing my take on all that. And of course, that would be strictly a personal video, no cars, no yard stuff or nothing like that. And I kind of give you my heart and my mind on how I've been able to deal with all that. If you want that, if you think that'd be beneficial to you, comment below, let me know. I'll read them. Enough people say let's do it, then I'll take the time out of my day and I'll do it, especially if it'll help a dad. That's the main thing behind all this, is to help other dads not lose their freaking mind over something like their daughter's dating. Alright, so the links to all this stuff will be in the description below. They are affiliate links to where I get a small commission off things somebody might buy. But wheels, I always start with my wheels first. Obviously they're the dirtiest part of the car, so I'm gonna get those cleaned up first before I go to the body of the car. My number one general rule of thumb is I always wash the car in the shade. I never like washing any of my vehicles in direct sunlight, if at all possible. This is a degreaser. I've tried a bunch of different degreasers for my tires. I use this is a chemical, one of the chemical guys ones. I ain't got no link to it or anything, but it's on their website. It seems to be doing pretty good. Super Clean is another good one, and I like to get the brown yuckiness off the tire and get the tire back to its normal black color. I'm not a shiny tire guy, meaning when I do my tire dressing, I don't like it super glossy, shiny. I just like it black. I'm a black tire guy. And a major pet peeve of mine is when that stuff slings all over the car. It just drives me up a wall. And the purple stuff you see me using is brake buster. I like to spray some on, and then I also like to foam it on as well. That's going to help, break up your brake dust and just help all that come off easier, cleaner. It also, when I foam it, I feel like it lubricates it really good. And of course, if you know anything about detailing, lubrication is the key. I like it as the car and the wheels, the tires, the car, the paint, as lubricated as possible when I'm cleaning it. That way I minimize any chances for scratches. I don't do the 2-bucket method all the time. Sometimes I use a single bucket, but every time a tool or this is the Easy Detail brush that I do the wheel wells with. Anytime this thing touches the car and I use it, I always bring it out and wash it clean before I put it in my bucket. That way I always have clean water or clean soapy water in my bucket. Detailing brush, like I said, all this stuff's linked up below. I think it's an Easy Detail brush. I believe it is the company of it, the brand name of it. Of course, I use the detail brush to get in all my little tight areas where a normal microfiber wash mitt won't reach, like up in here behind the valve stem and in these little cracks and these little crevices and places like that. Again, once I use it, it gets washed before it goes back in the bucket. I've got these little, I don't know where I got this thing at. My buddy Mike recommended it to me. It's basically a miniature microfiber wash mitt that, it's just easier to manage it when you're doing wheels, because the wheel obviously isn't big as a panel on the car. Detail. I think that's why they call it auto detailing. is because you need to be extremely detail oriented to clean a car to perfection, in my opinion, meaning you don't miss any spots. That's my take on that, is I'm just extremely over the top when I'm cleaning, because I'm very thorough, I guess would be a good way to word that. And then my tires, and man, I have tried so many different tire brushes. I mean, I've got a ton of them, and I landed on this one, PF something is comfortable. It's got rubber around the edge. I like that, so in case you bump your wheel, you're not going to scratch it. And then the bristles aren't like super stiff. They're stiff, but they have a little bit of give to them, to where they'll still agitate well, but they have some give to them. It's a little easier to use than a brush that's super stiff. I always take my my nozzle off and just let the water flow to rinse out my lug nut wells where the lug nuts are in there. It just seems to get all the soap out a little better. I use the Kranzla 1122. I just think it's perfect for car washing. I used to use one of those ones you would get from Lowe's, Green Works or something like that. And of course I graduated from that and got one that's a little bit nicer, and they're expensive, but I've had mine for about 2 years now, and I have yet to have the first issue with it. It's run flawlessly perfect for 2 years, and I don't see it checking up. So I'll get my money back out of that, because I plan to use it years and years and years to come. So basically, before I wash, I'm going to pre-foam it. Use kind of go back and forth between Reset and GSF. Then I'll add some Green Star to that as well, and I'll foam it down, let it sit for a minute, really kind of lift the yucky off the car, and I'll pressure wash it off. You don't want to take a wet mitt and put it on a dry car and go washing, because you're just asking for scratches then. So I lubricate it, pre-wash it, get the majority of the buildup and the grime and stuff off. Of course, there's nothing like a hand washing. This isn't going to clean the car like hand washing, but it's kind of a pre-step to the hand washing. Notice my license plate isn't on here. I always take my license plate off anytime I detail a car. That way I can get behind the license plate, and I can actually get that part of the car as well. I want the whole car clean, every drop of it. And when I'm doing the body of the car, I don't know the name of the brand, but of this one, but of course the link will be in the description. You can see what the brand is. And then a detail brush for all cracks and crevices behind the door handles, in between the tail lights, just anywhere it would be difficult to get this, I use my brush. So I always start at the top of the car and work my way down. I think that's pretty common knowledge. I will go ahead and do all my little edges and cracks and crevices with my brush first. And I'll basically refoam the area of the car that I'm about to wash. Again, it's more lubrication the better. And I'm not super aggressive with this thing. A lot of the times I just let the weight of the wash mitt do the cleaning, and I'm just moving it around. I like to wash in straight lines, not in circles. Typically when I get half of the top done, I'll flip my wash mitt over. And of course, like I said, I like to wash the mitt off before I put it back in the bucket. This is a 2021 Mustang GT, and this is my 5th Mustang I've owned. I've had 4 Fox bodies before this. Well, actually, I still have 1 Fox body put up in storage that I'm a little bit unsure of what I'm gonna do with yet. I don't know if I want to leave it like it is or turn it into like a street rod type setup with a big cammed out motor and that kind of thing. It's not sure yet. This car is ceramic coated and it's had paint protection and all that stuff. I got a pretty extensive background in street racing, and that's kind of how I got into the whole Mustang thing in the beginning. I've always wanted a super fast car that I could take to the track and that I could drive daily. Go to the beach on it or on a date or whatever. Push rod motor, they're fun. I ain't gonna lie to you, they sound good, but you can't have a high horsepower car and then still drive it around daily. It just don't work for the most part. So that's why I ended up going with a newer model. And this particular car has got a Whipple supercharger fuel system, suspension, exhaust, and it runs. We got an 1/8 mile track. It runs extremely low 6s. I'm like a hair on your head away from running in the 5s. Like 125 mile an hour. So that's pretty quick for a daily driver. One thing I don't like is I don't like the soap drying on the car, so I try to wash it and get it rinsed off as quickly as I can. Even though it's ceramic coated. Peculiar like that. I use a little rolling seat. It's just El Cheapo. My wife got me for Christmas one of the Viper chairs, but it hadn't came in yet. I'm excited to get that. That's really nice. When I'm rolling, I'll get stuck in the cracks in the concrete and can't move around on it. So hopefully that Viper chair will fix all that for me. This is some of that attention to detail I was talking about, getting all back down in between the tail light, I guess louvers maybe is what you would call them. And all these little cracks and corners around the GT emblem. I want to get down in those cracks really good. This gap right here between the trunk and the trunk lid, I like to split the brush kind of in half and get it up in there so that all that gets good and clean. I guess somebody's going to ask, Pete, why'd you get a black car? Well, I love black. I love the color black on a car when they're clean. In my opinion, there's nothing like it. They just, in my opinion, they look the best. And it's also a challenge to keep it clean. And that's part of why I wash a car is, you know, just to kind of challenge myself to see just how good I can keep it looking. And obviously the main reason I keep my car clean is this stuff ain't cheap. You have to work hard and pay for it. And I want to, you know, protect my investment and keep it clean. And then on another note is this is a stress relief for me. You know, you've heard me say I put my earphones on and mow the grass and I just let everything go. Well, it's the same concept when I'm cleaning the car. It's just a stress reliever. I enjoy doing it. Kind of just helps me relax, kind of get away. It's quiet, it's peaceful out here. Nobody's, you know, around, and it's just me in the car, and I can just focus on it and scratch my attention to detailing bone, if you may, and just go to town on it. And yeah, I'm one of those guys when I go on a date or go out after I've cleaned my car and I park, I'll turn around and look at it and see how the lights are shining and reflecting off of it and see if I missed any spots and that kind of thing. So yeah, I kind of get into it. One thing I will try to do is if I have to wash the car and the sun peeks out, like I said, the sun's kind of in and out, I like to keep the car wet. I don't like for the water to dry on the car before my final, you know, wipe down or dry down. So if I need to, I'll shoot over to the other side and mist the car with water to keep it wet. Don't forget to get inside here. Boy, when I go to fill it up with gas, I ain't got no dirt and no yuckiness in there. Drives me crazy. Car hasn't had any transmission work done to it. It's bone stock transmission. Of course, that's what's really keeping us from going into fives. I think this winter we're going to look at getting the transmissions done, beefed up, put stall converter in them, that kind of thing, so we can run some low numbers at the track. Or lower numbers at the track. in all the little cracks and corners, and I'll use this brush to get inside this honeycomb grill. That way it can get the inside of it, not just the facing of it. Now, I don't feel the car is completely detailed out until you do the door jambs and under the hood and inside the trunk. And what I mean by that is I'll turn my pressure washer, the power off, so that it's just the pressure from the water spigot. And I don't use my well water for this because my well water has a ton of sulfur in it. I'm just not sure what that's going to do to the paint on the car, so I use the city water and the CR spotless setup. But I want to get the door jambs crispy, just like the rest of the car. So obviously I'm not going to foam it because it'll get stuff all in the car, but I'll give it a little rinse like that, and then use my little detail brush, and I'll actually wash the door jambs just like I would the outside of the car. You can see I've had this car for well over a year, and I still haven't even taken the sticker off of the Mustang emblem right there to try and keep it new as long as possible. And don't forget the outside of the door jamb. And then I just rinse it off very carefully because I don't have a protection on this side here, and that's metal. Of course, metal is going to scratch it, so I'm just going to be super cautious doing this. I'm not going to typically do under the hood every single time I wash the car, but on occasion I do. I'm not actually going to go at it super hard, but I am going to get the majority of it, especially, all the outskirts of it. There are electrical components under the hood, obviously, so I'm trying to avoid those at all costs, using the least amount of water to get the car clean, or to get up under the hood clean. And I'm going to rinse it. I'm going to just be real careful. So once I get everything washed and clean, and door jambs under the hood, trunk jambs, car wheel, before I do a final rinse, I actually like to wash the soap off the driveway, because I don't want to drive through the soap and it throw that back up on the car. Of course, I'm not going to move the car until the driveway dries completely, but I want the soap gone. Now I give it one more final rinse. We'll go and blow everything off under the hood before I shut the hood. That way when I do my final wipe down, I don't still have water leaking out onto the car anywhere. Now, for my absolute most favorite part of washing the car is this final rinse. Now, I will dry the car with water. Okay, I know that sounds weird, but I dry my car with water. What I mean by that is, when you have a ceramic coated vehicle, it's super hydrophobic. Okay, super hydrophobic, and then of course I maintain that to keep that up. When you pressure wash it, you can see all these little beads and things, little droplets of water all over the car, little teeny tiny ones. When you introduce water to the surface using volume of water, all these little tiny droplets will sheet off. The volume of water will remove the tiny particles of water. Now you can see I'm still left with a little bit of water, but they're bigger droplets and they'll blow right off. Whatever water's left on the car, I'm gonna blow dry it off. Even when I blow dry it like that, it doesn't get every little last drop of water off, so I just take me a microfiber while the car still got a little moisture on it and just kind of gently wipe that off to get rid of any water that's left. Again, when I'm doing this, I'm not putting pressure on the towel. I'm letting the weight of the towel do its thing. I'm just kind of moving it around on the car. I'm very slow and very methodical with this. I don't try to get in a hurry, because the last thing I want to do is scratch the car. And yeah, I'll use a drying aid, like, you know, like a bead maker or something like that, but I don't have that kind of time today, so I'm just kind of getting it dried off. And don't forget, you know, wipe down your door jambs and all that too. That's one of my pet peeves, is when you get to where you're going and you've cleaned the car and you got those little water streaks dripping out. Oh my gosh, it drives me crazy. Now this is Matt's tire dressing, but what I do is I buy it by the gallon. My truck has 37s on it, so it ends up taking quite a bit, you know, when you cleaning your vehicle routinely throughout the year. So I buy it by the gallon, and then I'll just go buy one of these little tiny hand applicators that you would buy like from a Dollar General or something. And I use the sponge because on my car these tires are really low profile, and I need that sharp edge on the sponge to get that groove right there. Okay. I don't want to get this stuff all over the wheels. Of course, if I do, I'm going to clean it back off. But I like to keep as much off of the wheels as I possibly can. So I don't put much, just a little tiny bit. And then I will put this in the groove right there and go all the way around. Of course, I'm trying to get it on the paint either. But if you do, of course, you can go back and get it off later, and I just use a damp. If I do get some on my wheels, all I use is a damp microfiber and a dry microfiber, and go back and wipe it off with the damp one, and then I go back and, you know, dry it. But you can see this stuff doesn't make it super glossy, which that's not what I like. I don't care for super glossy tires. I just want them black. I want them as black as I can get them. And I found that Matt's product Matt's Tire Shine actually does a really, really good job at that, and I like it a lot. Now I'll go around and get all 4 wheels like that, or all 4 tires like that, and then I'll get in the car, crank it up, and pull up or back up so I can get down here at the bottom. These tires are so low profile, they're actually, the sponge is wider than the tire, so I'm kind of dragging the ground, so it's pointless. So I get in the car and back it up and put this spot of the tire in a better location where I can get to it. There you go, car's nice and shiny. I think it falls into new penny status. I love it when it's shining like a new penny. I get excited about this stuff no differently than when I'm mowing my grass and putting stripes in the yard. Okay, it's kind of on the same level with that. I'm fanatic about keeping my car clean and my truck. And by the way, my truck is a pretty big truck. If you want to see a full-blown detail video on that, it's a 4-door dually with 37, so it takes a pretty good while to clean something like that. Word of warning, it would be a really long video. I know some of you don't like the long videos, but you know, it is what it is. If you would want to see that, I can do that and make that happen. I just think it would be cool to show you how long it actually takes to detail a truck that size. So you comment below, let me know if you want to see that, and I'll make it happen. So like I said, the car is good and clean. It turned out really, really nice, and like I said, it's all about details to me. You know, making sure you clean every single last little crack and corner of the car. You know, the products are one thing. I use so many different products on my vehicles. It's kind of like fertilizer, buying fertilizer. There's just so much out there, and I like playing around, trying this and trying that. And so I'll go in and get ready and all that, and I'll come out, you know, 5 minutes early and take another microfiber towel, a new one that I haven't used yet. And by the way, every time I use my microfiber towels on detailing a car, they go straight to the laundry room and they get washed and cleaned before I use them on another vehicle. But I'll come out a few minutes before I leave, make sure any of those little water spots that, you know, kind of drain water, they come out from under the door handle sometimes, and under the side mirrors, you know, you'll get a little drip, or at the bottom of the door it'll leak out. I can't stand that. It drives me crazy. So I'll make sure all that's wiped down before I go. If I weren't going to drive the car and I just wanted to clean it, I would back it in the garage and put my car cover on it. I never drive it and then put the car cover on it, because once you drive down the road, you know, you pick up stuff from the road and that kind of thing, and you don't want to put a car cover on the car with all that stuff you just picked up on the road on the car. Yeah, it's a done deal, and I'm looking forward to tonight, and I'm looking forward to getting back to making some yard videos. I mean, the weather's nice around here. I'm probably going to be out here doing some, you know, my pruning and things like that, cutting my liripe back and that kind of thing, and I'll show all that in the video. And don't forget, I've got some new fertilizer coming out, got several new packages coming out, got some new equipment coming out. I got all kind of irons in the fire right now. You know, I just made the decision to take the handcuffs off. Just to be completely honest with you, I felt like I've been handcuffed and really couldn't go after this online business or this online thing extremely hard, and I just said heck with it. I'm gonna go all in and see what happens. So as always, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch. I'll check you later.